in 2004, and what I'm setting up is how valuable OnPassive is to everyone from my perspective of what the journey I had. In 2004, I wound up on disability, 42 years old. The business I was in before, a regular brick and mortar business, I traveled all over the world, got to meet people. It opened my eyes that everyone wants the same thing for their families. No matter what country I was in, people are pretty much the same. I saw that a lot of the problems were more governmental, and people running companies had a lot more power and caused a lot more problems. It wasn't the actual people. Now, you don't know that when you're stuck in your own little country for all your life and you find out the evil empire. I went to Russia and they were beautiful people, hardworking, they worked like crazy. And it was a month where I was at. I was in Siberia. And I'm thinking, wow, man, it's so bad to judge a book by its cover because usually the cover's a lie. Anyway, to get to my journey, after I wound up on disability, I kept telling my work, I'll be right back. And the doctors tell me, no, you're not. So anyway, I didn't. So I've got kids, 4 kids, teenagers at the time. And now they want me to live off 60% of what I made instead of 100% of what I made. And I was struggling already. So I looked around. I said, what am I going to do? What's this internet thing? So I had a computer and I said, people are making money online. I'm going to do that because I'm home. I can use the internet. It just made sense to me to be able to do something like that, figuring I can't walk around. And I did the Amway thing, going to different homes. I did okay on that, by the way, but those days are gone. So I said, let's see if this old dog can learn some new stuff. So I got online, went to a business. I have no idea what business it was. It was a long time ago. In fact, I was calculating with Mike Ellis that we were probably in 50 to 60 businesses just since the time I've been with him in 10, 12 years. Anyway, I got on and I know that you need tools. You need something to be able to do whatever it is you're doing, even if whatever it is, it doesn't matter. So I got in, I went to the first business, the person, the guru, whatever you want to call them. There's 3 or 4 people at the top. You knew they were at the top because they ran everything. And they tell you, okay, here's what I want you to do, make a list, and then go to those people and share this. Sometimes they would even write it for you or give you an affiliate link. Okay, I looked at it. I said, okay, how do you do it? Okay, how much money can you make? You never really knew. So I went at it. I made a list of my friends and family, and my friends and family at the time believed me. Now, remember, when I'm sharing this first business, second business, 50 of them, it was always, I believed it would do good for them and me. Well, I did it. I had maybe 10 people come in with friends and family, and they're hot to trot, and we're gonna do really well. Well, it goes back to the saying that Bob Tacusi always says, every week or every month, I kept learning things. I'm seeing things I didn't know. So I'm going, well, I didn't know that. And how do you do it? And I didn't know that. And how do you do it? And this went on and on and on. Well, the family and friends that I brought in, they came in because I said you can make $90,000 in 90 days, right? They don't want, they're not as driven as I am. And then as I'm going, I'm thinking, okay, they told me I have to have an auto ship in 30 days. So whatever I bought, and by the way, the first kit I got was somewhere $250 to $500. They send you a box of whatever it is they're selling, potion, lotion, whatever. That gets you started. So I did that. I convinced my family to do that, my friends. So we all did it. Then I'm thinking, as time's going on, first day, first week, second week, I'm going, wait, 2 weeks, I'm going to have to pay this thing again to even stay in this business that's supposed to be paying us. So I made a few bucks because I talked 10 family members and friends to get in, and I'm running out of time. I've done what they said, so I'm digging now because I know that my family's going to be asking me what's going on. And I said to them, what do I got to do? Oh, you just got to get traffic. Where? And they said, well, they got traffic exchanges, safe list. You could buy solo ads. None of this was told me in the day one. None of it. I was naive. I didn't know. Okay, so I'm going and going and going. Well, needless to say, that first month got gobbled up. The family's going, what are we supposed to do now? I said, well, look, just buy the products one more time. And they said, no way are we doing this again. We're already behind 200, whatever it was, 500. We're not doing it again. So now I'm down to maybe 3 people that, the 3 really loyal friends. And we go to month number 2. I join every safe list. I join everything. I'm doing all these things. And I found out, you know what a traffic exchange is? You join it, and there's thousands of people in there, and they all have the best business that was ever created. And they're sharing their business. You look at their website, and they look at yours. And if you look enough of them, they give you points so you can share your business even more. I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. So we're all fishing in the same pond, except we're all trying to catch each other. There's no fresh fish in there. It's me trying to convince Bob that my business is better than his. So none of that works. Hold on a second. So I let that make sense. And then me thinking, oh, I know what I'm going to do. How much does a traffic exchange cost? So I go to eBay, I find a script, $15, whopping $15. And I go, what I got to do now? Well, you got to host it. Well, then you got to get a graphic designer. So I found a lady in California. She built it all up, beautiful website. And I felt for the beautiful website means everybody's going to come. No, they're not. They don't know what's there. I don't care how nice your website is. So I said, well, I'm going to build it with a bunch of traffic exchange people, and then I can put my ad, my number 1 best product in the world at the top. I did that for about a year or 2. It really did very little. Because I was bullheaded, I didn't quit. I make a few bucks, but I found that my biggest day, which was months and months and months, is the month I broke even. I actually had the audacity to jump up and down and go, I'm even. I mean, what the heck kind of crazy business is that where you go, you're bragging about being where you were before you ever came in? So I said, something's wrong. So I'm going down, and I'm seeing these guys with really big businesses. And I'm like, what are you doing? What do you mean? You're not doing traffic exchanges and all that. I advertise. What do you mean? I set up ads on different Google and ClickFunnels and all these weird things. So I said, okay. So I go into Facebook and I learn how to get targeted traffic. Now, this is 9-10 years down the road. Trust me, it took a long time. So here I am, and I start what they call Facebook lead ads. And I set up the ad. Now, here's what happened. You set it up. It takes about 3 months to really fine tune it where you can afford the lead that comes in. So I'm doing this for a company, and the company folds. So I did all this branding for 2 months, and the company that I'm actually saying is the best in the world is gone. Great. So I have to redo it. Now I can drive traffic. I have nowhere to drive it to. So I stop. I find another company. I said, oh, this looks like the real deal. I do it again. Now, during this time, you're building what I call tools for your trade. I'm building the tools for my trade. So I go down, I find another one, and there it is. Boom, 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 boom. So I don't want to tell you the horror story, but finally I meet Mike Ellis and Dan Street. And the main thing was, and you're going to find this out in anything you do, especially in OnPassive, trust is a big deal. I have a beautiful family in every country in the world. That's priceless. That's one thing about OnPassive. And because we were driven together by heart instead of so-called knowledge, it made it an ideology, which you'll hear us talk about a lot. And I love that part of it. But anyway, so I met Mike, and he met me in a webinar, and I was arguing with somebody about traffic. And he called me later and says, I think you're right. That's great. So me and him, we joined forces. I never met him. I've worked with him for 12 years. Never met him in person. But the main thing we had was trust. I trust Mike, give him the keys to my home. I would give him a credit card that doesn't have any balance on it, but I'd give it to him if I had to. And then his friend was Dan Street. And Dan had a little money. So he was our banker. So we go on to the next one, and we get in a business, and we build it to 10,000 people. And the business is moving back and forth. We're doing fairly well. We're starting to make money. And it hits me. Back to something happened I didn't think about. All the people that we're bringing in that I feel responsible for, they don't know what to do. So now they're at a point where we didn't know what we didn't know. And I said, well, I'll just share what I did. And then I realized I'm going to take 10 years of this craziness and shove it into a little box and say, here you go, do this. I tried. And then we found out you might be able to help two people. And if you do the math, then you can help two people and they can help one, and then they can help a half a person. The math doesn't add up, as you can ask Andy Burks. The math just didn't add up. And if you do the calculations, I would have had to live to 3,000 years old to make a pretty good income. That doesn't bring anybody else with me. It just drags them along. And in the MLM business, they have a lot of, they persuade you to keep going, but what it really is a lie. And there isn't trust because they're telling Johnny, you're doing a great job. If you keep that up, you're going to do very, very well. In reality, Johnny has brought in one person in 1 month. And I'm sitting back with Mike and Dan going, if Johnny keeps doing that, the people with him don't know how to do that. So in 6 months, Johnny's going to have one person. So now I'm getting a little bit discouraged, like, wait a minute, we have to figure out a way to build, then make a system we can give to other people so they can build with us. It's craziness. So this went on for a long, long time. One of them, we built 20, 30,000 people. It was an app, a game, a sporting game app. We're going to clean up. We are going to clean up. We did it. We had probably one of the biggest teams in there. And the app launched. And there was something missing. It wasn't fun. You can't have an app, a game that's not fun. And I'm trying to make it fun, but it's not fun. Of course, Dan comes back and goes, this isn't fun. I go, I know, Dan. But we had spent 7, 8 months on that. We actually had one ad that had 1 million views on it, 990-some thousand. So now I'm like, I went to them and I said, look, we did one more business or something, but by the end of 2018, the conversation was, look, we can either go get a script, make a business for ourselves, add digital products in it, because I know we could set it up where people could make money. Because at that point, I'm thinking, look, if I can make 5 and give away 5, I would do it because I want it to grow. I'm not, you can't think about business one day. Then I said, well, we don't have the money to do that. And then I'm thinking, I even said to Mike and Dan, look, I think I'm going to quit. I can't keep doing this. Now that we know what we do know and we could drive traffic, I know talking to that person, whoever it is, man or woman, that they don't have a chance in hell to make any money. They don't have a chance. And I'm going, well, I don't want that. I didn't want that. But I realized at that point, well, before that I'm looking for a company called OnPassive, which wasn't really going yet. I wish it was, now, maybe I don't wish, but if it was there, we could have cut through all the crap. So in beginning of 2019, I knew Red and Peter. Peter, I saw him on Facebook. I said, what are you doing? OnPassive. And the rest is history. I went into OnPassive. I listened to what they said it's about, that this guy in Orlando wants to build a business and share the revenue that comes in. And I went, wow. And I'm thinking, yeah, but he's going to get in the same position we were in, where how do you make everybody successful? And he did it. And I listened to it and I went, man, if this is 10% of what I think it is, I have to do it. So he said 97. I thought it was $970. What I thought was $97. Oh, why is it so cheap? Totally the opposite, right? But it was cheaper, so everybody in the world could participate. I mean, even a country that's poor, they could get a family together and come up with $97 eventually. I know that now. Then I was stupid. And then I looked and I said, well, there's 16,000, something like that, already in. Oh, it's saturated. Small thinking. The world's got 8 billion people. 13,000, 15,000 is nothing. It doesn't even exist compared to the scope of how many people there are. And there at the time over 5,400,000 online or something. So I said, yes, I signed up. I went to Mike and Dan, tried to explain it, wasn't any good at it, but I was persuasive, and they joined. And then we learned what was going on. And at that point, we thought, if this business is what we think it is, now we're going to build relationship and we're going to build the business. So I started a group called OnPassive Nation. Most of you know it. And said, I want to know people. I want them to know me. That's how confident I was in this business. Even though I didn't know everything, if it is what it is, we should know each other. It shouldn't be a fictitious name of some guy that lives in Fiji or something. So that's what we did. And then I went back to Red and then I said, I want to meet Ash. What? Now, every business we were ever in, I met the owner, or I met as high as I could go, because I'm responsible for people I invite in. So I think what they said back was good luck. So I went back to Mike and Dan. I said, look, he's going to be hard to get a hold of. Let's do this thing like we know how, as hard as we can, build relationship, build up the group. Dan made 80 autoresponders. We made many, many, many videos. Mike was the video guy. You all know Mike. And we went after it, but in a bubble called OnPassive Nation. I said, if we do this right and make a big enough splash, Mr. Mufaro will contact us if he is who I think he is. 3 months later, Ash called me on the phone. The rest is history. But what he said then, I love what you're doing, because he loved people. Wasn't that difficult for him? He understood what we were doing. And what I'm telling everybody here to round it all up, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, all of the stuff I had to do and failed, and I'm telling you, I failed at MLM being able to drive hundreds of targeted traffic to a business. So if I failed at that, look where everybody else would be. There was people much better than me and Mike and Dan. But the point is, we could do 99% of it, and we failed. And look at all the poor people out there, millions and millions of people following a guru or guru or whatever you want to call them, and one shiny object after another, after another, after another. And most people, 97 to 98%, fail. Not only fail, they lose money. They get into a business online and lose money. So here's the difference. In OnPassive, you're given all the tools. You're given everything, and you never have to say, I didn't know what I didn't know. That will never come to your thought. Because as you reach back to grab a tool, it fits everything you need. And the toolbox is full of targeted traffic, the best quality products in the world at the lowest price. And all of that, talk about, you always hear online, you need to have more than one stream of income. I want you to go to a plumbing shop. That's OnPassive. There'll be hundreds of streams of income, hundreds of streams of income, because he built it with his experience, and he knew, think about this for a minute. He built a custom business. He's a multi-millionaire. He was known in the industry as a super affiliate, okay, super affiliate. He's got records in companies of bringing the most people in than anybody else. But you know what? He hated it too, because he couldn't bring people with him. Now, I do want to tell you, at his scale, he has made people millionaires, just so you know. Everybody know. He has made millionaires out of people that would just, I'm going to give you another example. You see this online. You hear people say it. Ash did this, Ash did that. I'm going to give you the facts here. And I didn't say this yesterday. Ash would make, when he was in business, MLM business, he would get a business, if it went long enough, he would look at the plan and master the plan as quickly as he could. And then he would build a system that was hooked to that business. In other words, it was branded to that business, and give it to the people that he brought in. So they could take this mini Ask Me For a business and build into that business and actually be successful. And some were successful. Some were so successful, they made millions. I talked to somebody one time a few years ago, and we were talking about Ask Me For, and they said, oh yeah, he made us millionaires. No joke. So what did he do now? He leaves that industry for the same reason we did, and I'm not comparing to Ask Me For. That's stupid. I'm not even trying. But I'm saying same reason, but a bigger scale. And he left, and he looked for a better business, just like everybody else. The business folded or whatever it did. One of the businesses he's in, I believe he's still CEO, is GDI. But anyway, he went with his family and his wife. Months went by, and he said, look, it's not getting any better. The corruption's worse. And the only way that we have anything that control that we can do this is not hook onto another business, but make our own. Actually create our own business. He started to create a business. Anybody that's been here a long time, somewhere about 2020, middle springtime, he said he saw how many people were involved. He realized that the corruption was even worse, And the need was much bigger than he thought. So he started to expand. And he said at that point, I'm going to go all in. The dream that I have of AI making everybody so it's possible for them to create income, walk away income in some cases. And you've heard him say dream. And then you say you have a dream. Yeah, dream bigger. Went back and started to scale so that he took a business that if he built for himself would have made him a trillionaire, in my opinion. And he said, I'm going to scale it so that everybody watching, if you're involved, has the potential of making as much money as you ever dreamt of. That's what he did. That's where we're at. And on top of that, you too, I don't care who you are, you're a single mother in Africa, you're struggling and you lay in bed, looking up to the ceiling at night with tears in your eyes, it's got to get better. This is better. This is for everyone. They can look up, this is the answer. I've seen everything. I've seen business come out. I've had people call me. Oh, look at this new one. And I've seen some founders go scurry over to it. They're gone now. There is nothing. There's no man on the planet, as crazy as that sounds, that would do what Mr. Mufara is doing. And even with the bad crap that happened, and trust me, when we hear the story, it's worse than we think. But all the fire and brimstone, or whatever you want to call it, a silhouette walked through there with smoke, his pants are smoking. It was Ash Mufara. He went nowhere. He didn't just say do or die, he meant it. And now he's working right now to bring us back where we should have been 2 years ago, and we will be amazed. But if you have the tools, you don't have to worry about traffic. He will have it available for you. It'll be targeted. You don't have to worry about pages. It will be available for you. And on top of that, he'll have a system where you could take a business. Maybe you love some of the stuff you're using that you really say it helped you. You could put it in the marketplace and sell it. This is amazing. This is a multi stream of income. It's Niagara Falls. Anyway, that's all I have. I'm sorry it took so long, Cooper. I know I went over my limit, but